Welcome everybody to the live roundtable edition of They Cast from the Coast, December 30th of 2019. The last episode of 2019, gentlemen.
Yep.
Yeah. So here we go. And not only that, this is also still in celebration of our December to Dismember. Am I right, Tim?
Yay!
There we go.
Sorry, I'm checking a bunch of stuff. I'm checking the feed. I'm checking this thing. I'm trying to share stuff. Sorry.
Everybody's excited. That's all it is. So, yeah. So, still in the horror Christmas theme of the whole thing. So, guys, other than the obvious stuff that we reviewed, what did you guys do for Christmas? How things going with Christmas, Tim? Christmas and horror, buddy. Talk to us.
Well, well, I mean, I didn't, other than normal Christmas horror stuff that I do, as far as my Christmas horror movies, I mean, we've pretty much talked about everything. I mean, I didn't really watch anything besides the big ones that we did on the show. And it was pretty low key as far as like what I got this year horror wise for Christmas. I ended up getting a pop that I didn't even know they made pops of this movie, but I got a pop of Get Out.
Oh, I love that movie.
And the little dude's got fucking tears coming down his face and shit. But like I said, I didn't even know they made a pop of Chris from this movie. So I was pretty pumped to get that. But I mean, that was the only horror thing that I got.
Well, that's all right though. It's still horror. Keep it in with the horror theme. Josh, how was your Christmas? And how was your horror Christmas?
Yeah, not much horror involvement with my Christmas. It was all Star Wars. So we went to go see the new Star Wars a couple times.
A couple times, nonetheless.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. That's all right then. No, Christmas time horror-wise in this household was pretty good. My son ended up with PSVR headset system that he had actually saved up his money for, and we got like some games and stuff for it. And we got like Resident Evil 7, which Tim had talked about before being one of the best horror experiences he's ever had. Yeah, you're damn right. That shit's magic, man.
Oh my god! Like you feel like you're right there. Like, and I played the whole thing standing up. Like I had to play it standing up because it just didn't feel right.
I've stood up for most of what I've played so far, but I had to sit down a couple of times just because I was starting to get a little disoriented and running into shit. So it's like, nah, is what it is.
Well, there's some really good VR titles.
There are. I actually got the demo for Until Dawn's Rush of Blood.
Yeah.
I was playing that.
That's the rail one, isn't it?
It is. It's one of my favorite. It's fucking intense.
It is, man. Have you played like the full game, Josh?
Yeah.
Oh man, I can't wait to play the full game of it because I've just played the demo and I've played the demo probably about 5 times through already, and it's still just as good the last time that I played it as it was the first time. It reminds me a lot of like the intense feeling that you had playing like say House of the Dead in the arcade a long time ago, right? So it's good.
See, the thing is though, I'm gonna be a little kind of. I was disappointed. I mean, as a game, it's fun, it's awesome. Like you guys said, it's intense. But what I wanted was a VR version of the actual game.
Oh, like Until Dawn?
Yeah, like I wanted Until Dawn, but like a VR version or like a level or something. Very much akin to Resident Evil 7, like I'm saying. Because, like, it was really cool to see, like, them do something different with the this IP that they're doing. But I don't know, like I wanted like to actually be in the house or getting chased by the monsters and stuff. Like I just thought that would have been a cooler experience.
Yeah, no,
I don't
that
know.
would have been cool.
It was one of the first ones I got for the VR, and it's crazy how quickly it tricks your brain. Like, the whole thing's on a roller coaster, right? And you can feel it in your gut as you're going up and you're looking down, you're like, oh, and then when it drops, you get that feeling in your stomach.
Yeah.
Absolutely was. In terms of horror stuff, I got a new shirt. It's just, it's like Jason Voorhees, I wish it was Friday. It's cute. And actually, my daughter got this one for me. I thought this was great. Hit all the nostalgic buttons. It's the like the He-Man styled action figures from was it Funko?
Yeah.
Leatherface. She knows it's my favorite character. It's great, man. I mean, they did all the general ones too. It was fun. So yeah, general horror. But because it's still December to Dismember, and we are talking about horror and Christmas and everything else, there is something kind of like a mini PSA I have to give out at this point.
Uh-oh.
I think you guys know what I'm going to say here, right? I am going to have
Is the internet ready? Is the internet ready for what you have to say?
I don't know.
Viewers beware, you're in for a scare.
Everybody, I have to bring up and I have to talk about what I would consider rated S for shit. The worst thing that happened this year when I was reading all the comments and walking through the wondrous portions of Facebook and the internet and comment forums and everything else, everybody's horror favorite movie lists for Christmas time. Mm-hmm. And the one that seemed to sit on the top of a lot of people's lists for some reason just so happened to be one of the worst fucking Christmas horror movies I've almost ever seen in my life. And that would have to be Better Watch Out.
The movie was garbage. Do you remember when we sat through and did a watch through? We were gonna post. Oh, do you remember that, Adam?
We couldn't even bring ourselves to actually post the fucking movie or
so
do the actual
fucking
watch
horrible.
through.
So fucking horrible.
Okay, people, let me make this, perfectly straight with you guys here. The movie looked okay. It really did look like it was not a cheap-ass budgeted movie. It was filmed well. For the most part, it was acted well. The twist was a little bit annoying, to say the least, especially how they introduced the twist and what it was. The movie was presented as A, but the twist, literally 15 to 20 minutes into the movie is B. The problem is the writing with this movie. The writing is utter fucking garbage. It tries way too hard to be edgy. Really too edgy. Here you have a couple of like fucking 13-year-old, 14-year-old boys talking about like having sex and eating out fucking cartoon character females.
What did you talk about when you were 13?
Not that apparently, but still. Apparently not. But it was just, it seemed like it was too focused on the fact that these, even though they were somehow supposed to be like, or at least the main kid was supposed to be some sort of a mastermind in training for getting away with this kind of shit, was still very much so a kid. He had no real adult aspect to him when it came to, how he was actually pulling this off. Made the entire fucking thing unbelievable because for 1 minute he's fucking a whiny little bitch who's just, acting like a fucking, for the most part a regular 13-year-old, I guess. But he's suddenly pulling off this fucking mastermind plan to murder people and get away with it. Didn't make any fucking sense the way that they actually wrote the movie. And there's no fucking way that the Red Power Ranger would get pulled out that fucking bad. So that's one of the actual best characters in the movie, was the guy who played the Red Power Ranger, and he was also in Stranger Things. Billy, right? He was in this movie, and he got taken out like a fucking bitch. Like totally. There's no way that would fucking happen. So I understand that people like this movie because it's a little fucking edgy and it's got certain things to it, but I literally found nothing entirely redeeming about the movie as a whole. It tried too hard. It was something that people are praising for some damn reason. I can't get behind it. So Better Watch Out.
What do you rate it?
Better Watch Out. I still consider you to be rated S for shit.
I've never seen it. This description makes me want to go watch it.
Oh, Josh.
And then you come back with your own review on this movie. And I'm telling you right now, you're going to be like, Adam, you were right. Fucking garbage. All right, so we're going to move on from that then, because I'm tired of talking about that piece of shit fucking movie. So, next topic of conversation, a movie that we just introduced Tim to today, actually.
I did not.
What?
I did not know this was a thing. I had no idea you guys were going, hey, what's this? And I'm like, oh, here we go. It's going to be, some couch eating people or something stupid. And then I was like, okay, I'm intrigued by the name. And I watched the trailer, and, I must have rewatched it 3 times.
Oh,
Yeah, I'm super pumped for this. I have no idea where this came from. I can't believe I didn't know.
Antlers, produced by Guillermo del Toro. I am
Uh.
stoked for this one. My son is the one who told me about this one when the trailer premiered. Like the day the original trailer premiered is the day I heard about it. And I was at work and I was like, Antlers? No, I'll look at it later. I come home from work and Jake's like, did you see the trailer? I'm like, calm down. No, I haven't. He's like, I've watched it like 5 times already. And it's the original trailer. I'm like, okay, fine. So we sat down and watched it, and I'm like, damn, I'm stoked. And it's based on a story. Like, it's based on a novel. And I want to find the novel, because I want to find out what the descriptions behind it. And, like, Tim, you said earlier, this looks like a Wendigo.
No,
Oh, I absolutely think it's a Wendigo. Only because, like I said, I thought this when I sat down and watched it for the first time. That's what popped in my head, and I was supposed to do like a short film a couple years ago about it. So I did a bunch of research, and it was just little things that they said in this trailer that made me go, "Okay, it's either a Wendigo or it's something based off that." But it absolutely is.
It
No,
100% gives the vibe, regardless. And I love the simplicity. One of the posters, the quad poster, I got it up on the screen here too on the stream. The quad poster basically is just the letter A, but it's
Yeah,
like
a
all
stack
just
of antlers.
horns. It's like a stock of antlers and horns and shit. It's great.
Yeah.
I can't wait to see this movie. So it's gonna be good.
Yeah, there's not many films with the Wendigo.
No.
Just
Be a good creature feature. And if someone's going to do it, I mean, Del Toro, he's the master of creatures.
Well, I mean, and it's based off something that's like so incredibly old. Like this was a native, American, native Canadian,
lore.
lore. Like in
Mythos, lore, like a Bigfoot or a Ogopoga or...
Yeah, it is a cryptid lore. Like there's something to it, that's for sure.
And you're right, Josh. No one's ever really done it, and I mean, it's cool. Like as much as I love me some Bigfoot movies, some Sasquatch movies, like this got that same kind of vibe, but there's almost like a very stylistic quality to it, very modern in how, whether it be the cinematography or just the setup of certain shots that I saw from the trailer. Like I'm totally down, I can't wait to see it.
Yep, I think it would be a really good creature feature.
When is it coming out? Like, I know 2020, but when?
I want to say March.
So
Did I read that somewhere,
I think
maybe?
it was like March. Yeah. It's,
Cool.
It's early 2020, first quarter. Yeah. No, it's going to be good. And like I said, I'll probably pick up the book and try to get a little bit ahead of it and just trying to see what I can find out with it. But yeah, no, this is definitely one to look for. And I like the whole idea behind the Wendigo stories as well, because like one of my favorite episodes of the original show, Supernatural, was in the first season. It was the Wendigo.
Yep.
When they're looking for the hunter or the campers and the hunters.
Yeah.
Pretty good.
I think X-Files did a couple episodes on it too.
Yeah. Good stories. And I mean,
Yeah.
it always intrigued me too, because there had always been talks about, even in the Pet Sematary movies and book, that in the surrounding woods it was supposed to be like a Wendigo type of creature.
Didn't they straight up call it that?
I think so.
Or was it something else? Yeah, I thought that's what it was. Yeah.
That's cool. Moving on, next topic. Tim, you wanted to talk about this. Lead singer of Slipknot, Corey Taylor, has finished writing a horror movie script.
Yeah, like, okay, so I was on Bloody Disgusting, and that's usually where I go to get caught up on news, and all of a sudden I'm scrolling through, and I'm like, what the fuck? I love Slipknot, I'm a big Slipknot fan. And I think most horror people usually are, because they basically are horror characters. Anyways, so big fan of Slipknot, and I was surprised to see Corey Taylor. I know that he just finished a book, but on top of that, he basically came out and said he finished his first horror screenplay. To quote him, I wrote a script for a horror movie that I'm really stoked about. I just broke the skin on book 5, and I was working on that as well. I got a lot of things going on, but I'm making sure there's plenty of time for family, marriage, and home. God knows you'll never have how much time you're going to get. So basically, he just said one of the things that he always wanted to do was write a horror movie, and he did. And no idea if he's going to direct it, he's going to option it off, executive produce, who knows. But he just kind of put it out there in the, horror news verse, basically saying that, some new horror movie material coming from him. So I'm super pumped.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah, it is really cool.
I like Corey Taylor and Slipknot. He also just did a documentary. He produced a documentary on horror movies.
It's like 4.5 hours long.
Yeah, it's like something of darkness. I can't remember the name of it. It'll come to me at one point, but I haven't seen it yet because it was like a limited release. Like you could only buy it on DVD at first or something like this, and apparently it's hitting some streaming systems here soon. So I'll be checking that one out as well because I like a good documentary on like the history of horror and how it shaped the whole movie going experience for young minds and shit like this. A lot like what Eli Roth did with that history of horror documentary and a whole bunch of that stuff. So that'd be a good watch.
Yeah.
Corey Taylor. Yeah. Next topic, gentlemen. The New Mutants. This is something that's been kind of collecting dust and sitting on the shelf for like 2 years now.
Leave it on the shelf.
No, stop.
Leave it on the shelf. It doesn't matter anymore.
Why does it matter anymore?
Because it was under Fox that this movie was made. Okay? So it's part of that Fox universe that is now done. No one cares. No one cares. That's why it's been on the fucking shelf for 2 years. I don't care.
X-Men. What do you mean?
Fuck that movie.
It's the New Mutants X-Men universe. It's a horror edition X-Men movie, basically.
No, it's garbage. There's a reason it's been on the shelf for 2 years. It's garbage.
But you can't say that. Some of the most...
I can't. Look at me. I'm going to look right in the camera. It's garbage.
The only reason it's been on the shelf is logistics, and you know it.
No,
it's the same as what happened to Michael Dougherty with Trick or Treat, dude. That sat on the shelf for like 2 years.
No, maybe you're right. Yeah, Tim, maybe you're right.
Shut up, Josh. Little pumpkin-headed guys in burlap sacks running around.
Oh, that was good.
That was good. All right. Yeah, so New Mutants, new trailers coming out January 6th. They are pumping it and pushing it. So Disney now owns obviously all the Fox shit, so they're pushing it.
What doesn't Disney own?
I think, honestly, I think they're just going to, because the money's there, the movie's done, fuck it, just put it out. But I don't have, after what happened with Dark Phoenix, I'm so glad Disney owns fucking, like, it's part of the MCU now. Like, so we can restart and actually have more faithful adaptations of, these characters. Even though some of the characters were really good. Like, Hugh Jackman was great, Patrick Stewart was great, Ian McKellen was great.
Yeah. Nothing against the actors themselves and the careers that they produced from that, or the careers that, brought them to that. That's fine. But the movies, when you started to get a taste of something better in what could be for action, superhero movies, you started to realize that it was like, looking through the lens, rose-colored glasses, so to speak, with how you felt about your first superhero movies that were really put out. Because let's face it, the X-Men movies and the original Spider-Man movie from Sam Raimi, that shit there was like, that started a whole new level of movie-going experiences for people.
That was the generation when I actually enjoyed superhero movies. I haven't seen a superhero movie in like 5 years. It's too much.
Wait,
yeah, I haven't seen any of the Avengers or anything. They're just constant bombardment.
What?
Yeah.
Okay, so to be fair,
like the original X-Men trilogy, like that that for me is the epitome of superhero movies.
Wow.
Wow, Josh, man, you need to fucking just watch some of these fucking MCU movies. They're really good.
Yeah, like
They're really good.
genuinely good.
Like it's not just all, hey, look, we can do super. Like they're really well written and really well acted. The majority, like the thing I found with a lot of the Fox X-Men stuff, it was hit or miss. Like it was either a really good movie or shit. And like there was a couple really good, X-Men universe movies, but a lot of them just they suck really bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. But I mean, some of the later, or some of the MCU actual Marvel superhero movies that were, in my opinion, some of the best ones were like, I love the original Captain America: First Avenger. It was not an absolute balls to the wall Avengers Endgame and Avengers type of action movie. It had some really good action in it, but it was a good story too, and it was told really well. And just like Tim said, they're actually written really well, and they come together. So
Yeah, Josh.
My favorites were always X-Men, Spider-Man, the Hulk.
Have you watched the new Spider-Man movies?
No.
Oh, dude.
Oh, dude.
I saw the Sam Raimi trio, and then when he got hosed from doing the fourth one, I didn't watch it out of spite.
Yeah, but this new one, the newest one that came out, like, there's like a huge Sam Raimi thing that they put in, and like it was like in honor of Sam Raimi. Like it was because there's been since the Raimi trilogy, there was the Amazing Spider-Man one, which Sony just did, and that sucked. But now it's a completely different Spider-Man in the MCU, and he's, in my opinion, like the best Spider-Man, closest to the comic I've ever seen. Like
Tom Holland is amazing.
Tom Holland is amazing, yeah. But the two Spider-Man movies that they put out, like, yeah, they're really good. Yeah. And just how he is in the MCU is really good.
I don't dislike them. Like, I don't. There's just so much hype behind them. I don't know. I never saw them.
Well,
I think you should sit down and watch them all in chronological order.
Isn't there like 15 of them now? That was another reason they were just pumping them out like crazy.
No, there's like 21. But they've been making them since fucking 2010.
Wait,
no,
you have Disney.
2008.
Thor. I watched that, and then I didn't see Thor Ragnarok. I didn't see any of the Avengers.
Thor Ragnarok was fucking awesome.
Yeah, dude, you gotta catch up, man. I'm telling you, you would enjoy these.
Right.
You would enjoy these.
We're only gonna bust his balls a little bit because now we're gonna have to give him some homework. So we're gonna move on from the New Mutants anyway, because a topic that is quite dear to me. Tom Savini.
Who?
What? Tom Savini. New documentary has hit Shudder. Hit it a couple weeks ago now. Smoke and Mirrors. This is a thing of beauty. So it's
how long is it?
It's
I never actually. It's saved. It's going to be watched. I had other shows that I had to watch. Mandalorian, The Witcher. I had to watch those. I'm done those, so now I can watch Tom Savini.
Yeah, you could watch Tom Savini. So it's like an hour and a half, 2 hours long, and it literally it's a proper documentary. It chronicles his life and entering into the horrorverse, and it puts a good perspective onto everything from his growing up with like way older siblings. Like he's like the youngest by like 14 years. Shit like this, and like his parents were like entirely elderly by the time that he got to a certain age, and one of his brothers basically and a sister like looked after him and basically raised him, and in talking about when he got drafted into Vietnam and he was a combat photographer and all this kind of stuff, and his original and right down to like little tips and or not tips like hints and stuff like this about his past, where he had actually originally been opted to do the special effects for the original Night of the Living Dead, but couldn't do it, had other obligations, and went off, and then rekindled that relationship with George Romero later, and that's why he ended up doing Dawn of the Dead with them, and basically became one of the most well-known masters of horror as there ever was. So
one of the best special effects artists ever out there, that's for sure.
Absolutely. And I remember watching the Fangoria Screen Greats documentary that they had released back in like 88 or 89, and it was all about Tom Savini, like Volume 1. And this is literally just a larger love letter to that and to Tom Savini himself. And there's all new footage in there, and there's all new things that they talk about. And they discuss things with Greg Nicotero and all the guys from K&B. And George Romero is on there talking about him before he had passed. And so it's really good. I highly recommend it. It's
amazing what they can do with some paint and some liquid latex and
absolutely. Seen it firsthand, guys, and it's fucking chicken soup.
Canned corn.
Yeah, canned corn and shit like that. Make somebody vomit.
Yeah.
So definitely check out Tom Savini, Smoke and Mirrors, whenever you guys get the chance there. But moving on, next topic, we have the teaser trailer for A Quiet Place Part 2 was released the other week. I liked the original a lot. Just gonna say it. Krasinski did well.
Solid.
At first, I couldn't really get past, his character in The Office, and all of a sudden he's like a horror movie writer and director and actor, and I'm like,
but is that really that uncommon now? I mean,
no, it's
look
not.
at fucking what's his name in Halloween.
Oh, yeah, shit.
I know. I'm a huge fan of Danny McBride, and I don't know why his name didn't pop in my head. But Danny McBride wrote a horror movie,
Yep, and got produced, and it was one of the biggest horror movies of the year.
Yeah,
and it was awesome. Period. So, the teaser trailer, I like what I saw so far. I mean, it was just kids are a little bit older, and it looks like it takes place almost immediately afterwards, because in the teaser trailer, as they're walking to the end of the sand, it shows her foot bandaged up where she had stepped on the nail in the first one.
No.
So I think that it's not too long after that anyway. But I got some hope for it, because the poster that was released, one of the posters, showed almost like a cityscape past like a wooded area that they were going to, so could be good.
I just hope that they don't fucking over-explain everything. That was one of the charming things about the first one was, this shit's happening, we don't know why it's happening, we're dealing with it, right? Like, we were there with the characters, and I really hate when they do that in the sequel.
What they're gonna do.
Yeah, they're gonna explain the
origin, yeah. Just like the same thing they're gonna do with Terrifier.
Yeah.
Oh, they're gonna explain the shit bandit.
Yeah.
They're gonna explain
better
the
left
red
no mystery
species on the wall. All right. Quiet Place Part 2. It's coming out this year, or 2020, as it would be, and it's gonna be good. I'm thinking it's gonna be good. Talk about something that's kind of hit or miss, or we don't really know a lot about it, to be honest. Halloween, the TV series, is in talks.
Or to the internet.
Yeah, well,
I mean, when you think about it, it would make sense. If I own the property to Halloween, I'd be licensing out to a miniseries. But it seems to be the way you make money nowadays.
The cool idea, like what I read, like the kind of very loose idea that they said in the article was, it's Michael Myers terrorizing a new group of people. So it's like, when would this take place?
And why?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, what would be really cool, in my opinion, is if they took it to maybe a first season and it becomes part entangled with the next two movies, Halloween Kills and Halloween Ends. And then if they took the series and they actually continued it, but they did like a American Horror Story meets Friday the 13th, the TV series type of thing, where, or like Season of the Witch, Halloween 3, where it's another story and they do
No.
the original idea.
That's why Season of the Witch bombed, bud.
But Season of the Witch bombed
Yeah.
only because of that reason originally, but it's got a cult following.
No, and we've stressed this. I've stressed this before. Season of the Witch should just be called Season of the Witch. As its own standalone horror movie, it's great. It's corny, and it's got some great fucking appearances by actors, the special effects. Like, it's great. But when you tack on that Halloween, that's when you lose me.
As a horror movie, it's great. As a Halloween movie, it's trash.
And I can appreciate what who's the guy that owned it? Mustafa Akkad. Yeah, I can appreciate what he wanted to do. And originally, that's what he wanted to do. Like,
well, him and Carpenter.
Yeah. So.
Well, okay, fine. But then, here's the other point of it. Back in the 80s, in the early 90s, there was an entire collection of Fear Street style books that were created for young adults that were for the Halloween movies and the Friday the 13th movies. So maybe they can just adapt some of those.
Well, I don't know why you needed to over accentuate that, but okay.
Well, because I wanted to.
No.
Something will happen anyway. We'll get a better taste for it. It
So
might only
obviously,
be
with talking about Malik, he's the front runner. He's going to be Myers, is he?
Myers, maybe not. He's the one talking about it. Malik Akkad is the one talking about it right now, and said it in the interview recently that that's the direction that they want to take. But then again, when they say TV series, they don't necessarily mean that it's going to be a 3-4 season show. It could be a limited TV event where they wanted to get out like a 10-point series or a 9-point series that explains an entire section of shit that happened between two movies. If there's something that needs to be said.
Well, I mean, the only thing that I can think of right now off the top of my head is the way they have the story structured. Okay, so you got 78. He gets captured. He's locked up.
Yep.
You got 2018. He gets out. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So at the end of 2018. He obviously gets out because that's the premise for the new one.
Mm-hmm.
So what I'm thinking is something happens in in Halloween Kills where I don't think they're going to kill Laurie. I think that would be stupid if they did. But I think Laurie and company get away. And this TV series, like you suggested, Adam, takes place where he's basically looking for them and he starts fucking with a new group of people because it's very apparent now that he don't give a fuck. He'll kill anybody with that new movie, right? So, well, no, he didn't. He didn't kill a baby.
No, but he sure as hell broke the neck of a young kid.
That kid had a gun and he was a threat.
Yeah.
And he needed that car.
And he needed the car. Okay.
Right? But a defenseless little baby, he left it right alone.
Yeah.
Okay. So as long as you're a baby, you're safe. Okay.
20 years later, you'll see the story arc of the baby.
And then Michael will kill it. A decrepit old man, Michael will kill the baby. Nice. Okay. Moving on, because we don't know what the hell's going on with the Halloween TV series, but it's good to speculate. The Grudge! We got to talk about this again, because there's been some more stuff that's come out about this, and Lynn Shay is awesome, and there was some really interesting pictures that were posted of her with all these Grudge-type characters and shit. It was pretty cool. And the more and more I see of this movie, the more and more batshit crazy it looks.
I'm really excited. I wasn't. But I am now, because, like I said, we've talked about this before. I was a big fan of the original series. I was a big fan of the original Ju-On films. There was just something very, very creepy of Keiko, the chick, I loved her. Okay.
Yeah.
But this one hasn't shown her yet. Like none of the trailers. I haven't seen any of the pictures yet corresponding to this. I'm kind of taking a Josh kind of route where I don't really want to know too much. But this isn't just a kind of they've been working on this for like 2 years almost. Right?
Yeah.
So okay, and they got some good names. I'm a big fan of Lin Shaye, so she looks crazy in it. It comes out Friday. That's what I'm doing on Friday. I'm going to see this on Friday.
Beginning of January. Yeah.
I'm excited.
So Tim will give us a feel, because I don't know if I'll get to see it this Friday. I still haven't even taken the kids to see Star Wars, so I'm a bad parent that way.
But you doing yourself?
Shut up, guys.
Because I sit here and
I will say that everyone I've spoken to, the people that did go into Star Wars without any prior knowledge, like no trailers or anything, enjoyed it much more than people that already knew stuff.
I knew everything and I still enjoyed it.
Yeah, oh yeah, it's great, but
I wouldn't go as far as great.
No, I really liked it actually.
Okay.
We'll talk after the show, Josh.
Sure.
All right. So this Friday. So Tim will give us a little bit of an update on Monday, which we're planning on doing another show on Monday. So there we go. So because as well, this is a very special week. It is New Year's Eve this week, everybody. In 2 days. So one of the things that we want to start doing during this show is we want to start giving recommendations, because yes, we release episodes all the time where we actually talk about a horror movie, and it's not always a horror movie that we recommend, because sometimes we just take the bullet for you and tell you about this shitty fucking movie that we watched, and
we care.
We do that for you. So in response, we would like to put out there some recommendations for movies. They're not always going to be the best, but sometimes they're going to be thematic to what's going on. 2 days from now, we have New Year's Eve. Therefore, we're going to have to recommend that you watch a movie that's...
No. Clarify. Oh. You are going to recommend. I've never seen this movie. My name is not attached to this recommendation. If it sucks, I don't want people coming after me. And you are not going to sell it my name.
Adam do not reflect the opinion stated by They Cast from the Coast entirely.
Yeah, we need to put up disclaimers.
Disclaimer. Woo, 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 woo.
Okay, go ahead, Adam. With your recommendation.
My recommendation for a horror movie that will get you a few giggles, and it's a little bit of a cheap, cheesy, cheese-tastic flick. New Year's Evil.
Couldn't even say it right.
New Year's Evil. I was going to say it with a little bit of a Canadian accent. New Year's Evil. No. New Year's Evil. Interesting movie. Look at the mask on that killer. It's like kind of a little fucked up looking. The whole idea here behind this movie is that during a live broadcast of a very popular TV show that's doing a countdown to New Year's Eve, they get some really, really rambunctious phone calls from somebody who claims to be teaching naughty girls a lesson. He's going to be killing some naughty girls. And every time that any part of the world, so any time zone, rings in the new year, he's going to call in with proof that he's killed somebody in honor of that time zone reaching the new year, with plans on eventually meeting up with the host of the TV show, who's like a pop rock star, and probably doing her in the end as well. The movie's a little bit cheap and cheesy, like I said. It kind of cashed in on the whole success of having, horror-themed events. Halloween, Thanksgiving. Well, we never really had a Thanksgiving one, but we had, April Fool's Day and Halloween and all kinds of Christmas movies and Happy Birthday to Me, and that was New Year's Evil. So you had like I said, a thematic situation going on here. If you're looking for something cheap and cheesy and probably will do you for the New Year's, pop on New Year's Evil. That's going to be my recommendation. And I'm done recommending because y'all jerks.
I'm just saying.
Yeah. Hey, that's fine.
Hey, it might be good. It might be garbage.
Tim will watch it and come back in a couple of days and be like, fuck, how have I never seen that movie? That was great.
Or
Or it'd be
What
like,
will
it's a good
probably
thing I
happen.
never put my name on that shit. Something else that we're going to do here tonight as well. So this is something that I got from a competition that I had won, a horror trivia competition. And I've never actually, played the game or anything else, but Trivial Pursuit Horror Edition. I got this sitting around collecting dust. So we thought,
It'd
why
be
don't
really
we-
cool to end like a episode with a trivia question that, like, answer down below what the answer is.
yeah, pop your
And who knows? If we get enough steam, maybe we'll give a prize. Who knows?
Ooh, that's right. So what I'm going to do first and foremost, I got this cute little dice. It's got like all the different colors on the sides, and the colors represent when you're looking at the card, different categories, as it were. So I'm going to roll the dice. Purple. Purple's what we're
Purple.
getting. So I'm going to reach into the deck of cards. I'm going to pull one out randomly here.
I feel like all this should have happened off camera. Prepared beforehand.
Ooh, here we go. And you should fucking get this one by any means, anybody. What actor played the titular character in Dracula, 1931? I don't know why you wouldn't know that one, but okay. So, answer below, and let's keep that going. Maybe we'll make a small theme of it, having horror questions, and trivia, stuff like that. So
There is one more show that I forgot to mention that I watched. Have you guys seen You on Netflix?
Yeah.
I did
You didn't
not-
like it by that sound, I assume.
No, I'm not going to get into it, but it was recommended by someone that I don't really like anymore. So now I watch the show, and it reminds me of that person. So
That's unfortunate.
fuck that show.
Fuck
I
that
think it's
shit.
really good. Season 2's out. It's a really good thriller.
I've had
Well, I
it recommended
want
to me a
to
couple
watch season
times.
2 because I'm a huge fan of Crystalia.
Yeah.
Crystalia's in it, so I want to support him.
Okay. Tim, you were the one who told me about the show originally and said that it had been recommended to you, and you were only like one episode into it at the time. You said it was okay at the time, and then by the end of the show, you were kind of like, yeah. So I just never fucking watched it. So
It's really well written. It reminds me. It has like shades of Dexter.
I was just going to say, it's the closest thing we're going to get to a Dexter reboot.
Yeah. The main character is very Dexter-esque. Very, I don't know.
Obsessive.
Yeah,
and
obsessive.
Deranged.
Yeah. He's like a psychopath.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, it's all right. But like I said, fuck that show. Just fuck that person.
It's soured.
fuck that show, but fuck
Fuck
that
that.
person.
But yeah, no, it's good. But I watched The Witcher instead, which is kind of a fantasy horror show,
Yeah,
and it was awesome.
I've only gotten through the first episode yet because I had a bunch of other shit going on, but I can't wait to finish watching it. It was good. And a lot of people were shitting on Henry Cavill as the original casting choice. I think he pulled it off so far.
Oh my god, he's the perfect Geralt. Perfect Geralt.
Like it. I had to tell my son, you know who that is? He's like, who? And I said, he's the guy who played Superman last. He's the guy, Justice League and Man of Steel is. And my son couldn't even tell it was him at first. I mean, because, even though he doesn't have the mustache, it's not like a really shitty CGI job, too, right? So. All right. Any other topics you guys want to talk about tonight?
No,
probably
not really.
not. Okay.
I've said everything. I mean, we could just go through fucking bloody disgusting.
No, let's just not do that.
So,
No, we're good. Okay. If that's the case, then, gentlemen, we're going to call it for the evening. So, until next time, thanks everybody for joining us, by the way. Check us out on YouTube, on Spotify, on iTunes, our podcast that we normally put out. Checking out this live stream, thank you very much, on the YouTube channel. So remember to check us out on Facebook as well. Share, like, subscribe, tell everybody about the show. Tune in next time as well. We're going to plan these for regular Monday night shows. And, We're on Patreon as well, by the way. So open up your hearts and your wallets. Donate to the show so that we can put the quarters in Tim's mind and get some content out of it. And that's right. We love you too. And until next time, Josh.
Happy holidays there, folks. Thanks for watching.
Tim.
Stay spooky, everybody.
See you next time, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. Check us out later.
Good night.